Test, test, 1, 2, 3, test.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the June 15th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. Greetings to those watching online as well. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is our second meeting of the month where most official votes are taken, many of which are listed on the consent agenda, which includes routine items or items discussed at our last or previous work session. Our meetings observe all the legal requirements of our district policies to the best of our ability and understanding. Our detailed agendas and related public documents are posted on the district website for public access. Mrs. Martin, could we please have attendance?
We have 6 directors present tonight. Mr. Gensel, Ms. Givler, and Ms. Trowbridge are absent. We do have a quorum in place.
And we have the agenda posted for the evening. Have there been any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, we had one correction today. The revenue expense report has an updated version added today, and I did add the PSBA report today.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nays? The agenda is approved. So first, we'll start off with the board accommodations. Smokedown's 4th grade team held a fundraiser at the end of the school year for one of their final math performance tasks. Students picked a local organization to donate money. They decided to hold a bake sale at the school and donate to the Pennsylvania SPCA. Our students raised $514.50. Students used daily math skills to bake the food and sell the items. They developed communication skills through infomercials in the school and advertising the event. Finally, they developed interpersonal skills by selling food to younger and older peers. Tyler Herr from the SPCA came to Smoketown last week to receive the check and talk to the students. It was a wonderful closure to a successful event. And there's a picture there of the event. And next we have several of our CVHS interns were highlighted in the L&P article about Robotic Works, a nonprofit organization that pairs students from Millersville University and area high schools with precision cobotics. So congratulations to those students as well. Next, I'll turn it over to Dr. Hartman for superintendent's comments.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eby. Good evening, everyone. Just a few announcements, not even announcements, a few introductions this evening. I'd like to take a few minutes and introduce 3 new hires who are on the board agenda for this evening, actually one of which was on the board agenda last week, but was not able to make it, so she's here this evening. So I'm going to start out with Stacy Wilson, who's going to be a reading specialist at the middle school. Hi, Stacy. Stacy earned her Bachelor's of Science in Education from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and a Master's in Early Childhood Education from Alabama A&M University. She also has received her Literacy Coaching Certificate, ESL Certification, and Reading Specialist Certification from Millersville University. She began her teaching career in Alabama, where she served as a special education teacher and elementary teacher before moving to PA. From 1999 to 2004, she served as an elementary teacher in the school district of Lancaster before taking a hiatus from teaching, and she returned to SDOL in 2018, where she has served as both an ESL teacher and a middle school literacy specialist. Welcome, Stacy. Next, we have Christy McSherry. Christy's going to be a special education consultant at Smoketown. Christy has her Bachelor's of Science in Elementary Education from Penn State and a Master's of Special Education from Slippery Rock University. Most recently, she has been serving as a special education teacher at Elanco, and she also has teaching experience at SDOL, Premier Arts and Science Charter School in Harrisburg, as well as teaching experience in both North Carolina and Wisconsin. So, welcome. And finally, this evening, we have Leanne Lefevre. Leanne has her bachelor's degree in Spanish education from Millersville and is working on a master's degree in language and culture with a focus in Spanish, also at Millersville. For the past 10 years, she has taught in the Lower Dolphin School District, where she has taught both Spanish and life science. She has also served as the Spanish camp director at Millersville University, and she's also a CV alumni. So, welcome. Welcome back. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any board comments on district activities? Seeing none. Mrs. Martin, any correspondence?
None.
And there's no presentations tonight, so we'll move on to public comment. Does anyone have any comments specific to the agenda? Okay. Please come up and state your name.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Gabriel.
Okay.
So I wanted to address where we were a couple of months ago with the proposed 122.1, and that we're going over the handbook tonight for the final approval and the verbiage in there and how it says that we will be referring to those policies. I'm not sure if I'm completely caught up, but I would like to be caught up on where we sat with that and if anything has moved forward from that. I would like to know, because if we are going to reference that we are going to follow the PIAA standards, that we also need to acknowledge that that contradicts what we're saying on page 33 of the proposed handbook. And that would be number 8, ensures that all extracurricular activities are open to all students without discrimination and that all students are fully informed of the opportunities available to them. And if we are not giving these particular students opportunities, what are we making available to them?
The student handbook approval is on the agenda for tonight. Yep.
Just a point of clarification. Are you sure you're not referring to the policy 123.1? That was.
I'm pretty sure I'm referring to 122.1.
So just.
I believe it's 123.
Right, policy 123 is on interscholastic sports. There was some discussion, and I don't want to speak for the board, but there was some discussion from the board of the potential of, currently do not have a policy 123.1. There was some discussion of the board considering policy 123. One, at that point, nothing has been adopted by the board, or there hasn't been further discussion. They're waiting, I believe, based on recommendation of council for further clarification of federal policy and federal potential federal court rulings. So unless I'm off base, correct me if I'm wrong on that. So it's status quo, I guess is my bottom line. The board decided not to pursue at this time that adopting that policy on recommendation of council, considering there's some pending federal court cases in front of the Supreme Court right now that our council was recommending would probably provide further guidance on whether or not there was policy to pursue there.
Okay, and then how it refers to following the rules of the PIAA on page 33 of the proposed handbook?
Right. Yeah.
Did that conclude your comments?
Yep.
Thank you.
And we'll follow up with specific language. I can follow up with you on that.
Any additional public comment? Any comments from CVEA or other employee groups? If not, moving on to the consent agenda. You can see posted there's items A through V. Does anyone here have any comments or questions on the consent agenda? If not, I would take a motion to.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in, oh no, we need a roll call vote. Sorry. Go ahead, Mrs. Martin.
Mrs. Groff? Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Dr. Martin? Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka? Mr. Eby?
Aye. So the consent agenda A through B is approved. Moving on to the action discussion agenda. So we have items, a bunch of items on there, and Mrs. Hunsinger here to talk about them.
Good evening. So we're wrapping up the budget process for the 26-27 school year, and tonight is our last budget meeting of the fiscal year, so we need to have approval of our final budget. So in this PowerPoint I have for you, a lot of it is just information that I provided previously. Again, our Act 1 index is 3.50, so we cannot increase our millage rate above that percentage point, and the 3.5% millage rate increase will generate just under $2 million of additional real estate tax revenue for us. The millage rate increase will be a cost to the homeowners of the district of $122 approximately, and that is based on an average cost of a home in Conestoga Valley of $215,000. Sorry, I flipped my page too fast. So we continue to have some challenges going forward. Salaries, PESers, healthcare, transportation, special education. And I believe, Mrs. Kapka, you had said, asked me last week, what do we do? When we're looking at our 5-year projections, we're looking at having continued deficits. We as a team are going to be staying on top of all of these expenditures, looking at our revenues continually to make sure that we see an opportunity where we could possibly do some shifting around in order to address vacancy management with staffing issues and other possible costs that we have. Next is the millage rate deficit scenarios. So this is showing you the different scenarios as if we were to increase our millage rate from 2.5% up to 3.5%. And basically, a 0.25% it generates an additional $142,000 in real estate tax revenue. But our recommendation is the 3.5% millage rate increase, which after a lot of the budget discussions we've had internally and reductions that we've been able to identify, decreases our deficit down to $1.1 million. So just as kind of a point to our, even though the deficit is down to 1.1 million, that is still not preferable. We'd still like to have a balanced budget, but that's something that, again, we are going to start working forward to in order to get more balanced revenues and expenditures in our budget. This is basically the same scenario with a 3.5% millage rate increase. However, I want to point out that our projected fund balance as of July 1 of 2026 will be approximately $12.4 million. And then the projected fund balance for June 30th of 2027 is $11.2 million. So we really do not want to go lower than that millage or that fund balance. And I've provided this with you before. We'll certainly update it tonight, assuming that you approve a 3.5% millage rate increase. Next slide. Yeah, there we go. Which will show the comparison of our Act 1 index versus our actual millage rate increases, and then the cost that it's been to the taxpayer, to the homeowner each year. And I will also, on the next slide, be updating the comparison for multi-years of all of the millage rate increases for the school districts in the county. Even with our 3.5% millage rate increase, we're still going to be amongst the lowest. I've been reading in LNP each week about some of the updates from other school districts, and a lot of the school districts are going up to their index, or some of them have adjusted millage rate indexes, and they can go even further above that. And then last, I just always am going to keep this out there because this is a big number, but it is our debt service, our principal and interest amounts. And again, our average annual debt service payment is $8.5 million per year. And that's to kind of fund our previous and current renovation projects. So we're probably good on what we have in our construction fund right now as far as entering into the Fritz Elementary renovation projects. Probably a year and a half, closer to 2 years, we might have to look at possibly borrowing some additional revenue. And that's going to be based on, or additional debt, that's going to be based upon any future renovation plans that we have. And also we're going to be continuing to apply for some of the state-funded grants in order to offset some of those construction costs. So, any thoughts, any questions on that? Where are you seeing that, Idette?
Yeah, I'm
The
not seeing
wording?
that.
The commentary that goes with that.
Yeah. Okay, okay,
Preliminary budget.
okay.
Doesn't matter.
I see. Yeah, that would be correct then, that it should be the proposed final budget was approved on May 11th.
And I think somewhere in the discussion of the final budget, there's the same suggestion that it is a preliminary budget approved.
Okay,
That needs to be correct.
you got it.
Any other questions? So I think we can take a motion for items A through C together,
That's separate.
right?
That's separate from actually approving the budget.
So we approve A, a motion for A.
You have to be able to be able.
I think last year, if I'm correct, I think we did A to C together and D and E separate.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I would like to have them separate.
Do you want to make a motion? Do you want to make a motion?
No.
I move we accept the final budget as presented.
Second.
Item A,
Yes.
so we have a motion and second for item A, approval of the final budget. Mrs. Martin, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Benigno,
Aye.
Dr. Martin,
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher,
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka,
Aye.
Mr. Eby,
Aye.
Mrs. Groff,
No.
We have a 5-1 vote. The vote does pass.
Thank you. Now we can do B and C together.
I move that we accept both items B and C for approval of the homestead resolution and the levy resolution.
We have a motion and a second to approve items B and C. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
No.
Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
We have a 5-1. The motion carries.
Thank you. Now moving on, we have items D and E. Do you have additional information for us?
Yes, item D is the resolution for commitment and assignment of fund balance. So when I referenced before that our fund balance was going to be about $11 million, what we do then is to identify the areas where we want to designate part of that fund balance to address upcoming potential cost increases, such as assessment appeals. We are entering into reassessment. Some of you may have already received your notifications in the mail. I did Saturday, yes. But also we have a commitment for our health savings account that we contribute into employees' accounts, it's a matching based on this collective bargaining agreement. We're also obligating monies to go towards our future debt service obligations and also for future inflationary impacts on our fund balance. So we look at that every year. We change it around as needed. Now, this is also kind of based on where we think our fund balance is going to be as of June 30th of this year. Depending on what our final results are, we might come back to you in October with another updated resolution. Any questions on this?
And we can do both D and E, correct? on
Yeah,
this
I was
one?
going to say, do you want to cover E as well?
Yes. So back about 10 plus years ago, we suspended the per capita tax bills that we would issue. Those were $15 bills, and it was a lot of work to generate those bills, a lot of manual labor. Instead, we negated that revenue and increased our real estate tax millage rate by that amount. Since then, we've always filed the resolution to suspend the per capita tax bills. About last year or so, Ms. Trowbridge had suggested that we just do a permanent resolution not to ever issue per capita tax bills again. But Dr. Hartman and I discussed that, thinking that with some of the uncertainties that remain with all the state and federal budgets, let's just suspend it for one more year. Maybe we continue doing that. That'll give us something if needed in the future.
Thank you for those clarifications. So we can take a motion on items D and E.
I move we approve the 26 resolution fund balance, and I also move that we accept the suspension as a per capita tax resolution for 26-27.
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff? Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
6-0, vote passes.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your support during the process.
Next, we have the review and approval of the CFOO contract renewal. Do you have some comments, Dr. Hartman?
Sure. Yeah, my comments are, and the board is aware of this already. Unfortunately, we've already been informed by Mrs. Huntsinger of her intent to retire at the end of next school year. However, her contract ended this year, so in order to get that, we need to renew her contract for 1 year, which I am gladly recommending we do. I wish it were a 10-year contract. 'Cause
Is the CFO not under the same regulations as the superintendent? The contract has to be at least a minimum number of years?
there's language in her contract that if we did not, it automatically renews for a year. If it does not, if we did not take action on it prior, which is the case we're in. But yes, it is not. I can verify that, but because
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
because I don't think we ever did it one year.
yeah, and a CFO, because it doesn't have to be a commissioned officer, I don't believe falls under those same regulations.
Any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion?
I knew I have to review the CFO contract.
Second.
Who was the second?
Phil. And could we have a roll call vote on that one?
Mrs. Kapka? Aye. Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff? Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
6-0. Motion passed.
All right, thank you. Okay, last item here on the action discussion agenda is a review of and discussion of policy 816, which is the district social media policy. Dr. Hartman?
Let me just pull it up here. So this is, at our last meeting, let me back up. Recently, in our latest round of school recommended policy revisions and update policy, policy 816 was on for renewal. The only, there we go. If you compare what was recommended by PSBA, and when it went through policy committee, there was recommended to look at the language on it being a non-public forum versus a public forum. That's a big debate in public schools now. With social media becoming more prevalent, there is more of a, I guess I'm showing my age a little bit here. There's more of maybe an expectation or acceptance that, like, when somebody asks you a question through social media, that's an official modality of communication. So districts are being asked to determine whether a non-public forum versus a public forum, whereas non-public forum, there's no expectation for reply. If we post something and there, we want to be consistent. We don't want to allow public comment on some social media posts, not allow it on other ones. Reply if people ask questions, reply to some people, but not reply to others. So from our a legal review, looking over this with our solicitor, talking about it as an admin team, talk about with our policy committee of the board, we're recommending taking the recommendation of being a non-public forum. That's really the only change in policy. However, since this was on for review and some questions have come up recently from the board on what is our policy on social media, what do we approve to be posted on a district social media account, not, after conversation with board leadership, we decided to pull it from consent agenda and place it back on action discussion for any public discussion that would want to be public by the board that would want to be had about it. So that's why we're here and open the floor or open it to the board for any discussion of our social media policy.
Yeah, as far as the non-responding to it, I think is that what you said, response or non-response? Is that what you were saying? Non-public. I think that would be, I do agree with that. It shouldn't be, we can't be responding to messages all over the place, all over from all the different accounts. So I think keeping it non-public is good. I also believe that we should be keeping our posts sterile. I believe that, as a school district, we have to be equitable to everybody, and we shouldn't be posting certain things here or certain things there. So my opinion would be to just keep the social media platform for school announcements, school information, school events, things like that, and just let it like that and not veer off into another path. That would be my recommendation.
If it's just school events, then we're not going to be able to wish anyone a happy, any holiday.
Then that's fine.
That seems sort of cold.
Then we only use federal holidays, if that's what you want to do. Any federally holiday we can put on there, but everything else, there's no need.
Yeah, but if you're going to say only school events, then you're going to have to change that it does allow.
Okay, well, fine, then, and we would add just school events, activities, announcements, and any federal holiday that is represented currently.
Here's my thinking on that. If you celebrate one, you have to celebrate them all.
Yes.
If you cannot celebrate them all, you celebrate none of them. Because if you think about it, like, I know my Apple iPhone, there's so many orange dots of holidays on every other, tons of holidays all throughout. And like, if you're doing a certain Autism Awareness Month, and then you have to do Black History Month, then you have to do Women's History Month. Like, and several months have different awarenesses. Some are appropriate for school, like autism awareness. Others might not be, like Breastfeeding Awareness Month. So, again, it comes down to, if you can't celebrate them all, you don't celebrate any, and just keep it
I agree.
status quo.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. You either do all of them or none of them. Otherwise, you're picking
Correct.
which ones you want to recognize.
That's why it's so sterile to begin with.
I have no problem with that, but I was a little confused. We talk about personal social media accounts. And I was under the impression that all of our social media accounts were closed to comments. That if you needed a response from a,
This is referring to staff, I believe. Correct? So
if
like,
you needed a response from staff, they would do that.
No,
But
to keep-
there-
for them to
There's several
keep-
recommendations in here that talk about reviewing public comments. And I'm thinking, but we usually didn't allow, are we changing that and opening?
That's the recommended change, is to go to a closed forum. That was not our previous, because
Yeah,
for the
I-
most part, we don't respond to comments, but I would, keep in mind, we have district social media accounts, but we also have building level, we have basketball teams and sports teams that have their own social media accounts, but that we don't monitor and we don't run, but they fall under this policy. So if we don't want to get in a situation where one building is responding to questions people ask, but not another one, or so on. So currently, no, that is the recommendation in the policy change, yes, is to be a closed forum, which is, I would say, is probably the trend most districts are leaning
Do we
towards.
ever have a
They've used-
problem with some being responded to and not others? My concern was if you allow open comments, we're opening ourselves up to a whole can of worms.
Right, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
want to do that, right.
like that's our current,
We're adding more wordage to it,
That's
give
our
more
current-
guidance, is what we.
that's our current practice, like we don't, but this is putting it official, like with the whole PSBA coming through and redoing everything. This is to kind of cement what we already do and saying, we don't comment, we don't respond, because there's some comments you don't want to respond to and things like that. So it's just keeping, it's informational.
Right.
If you have comments, and talk to a person.
So if you're an if you choose as a district to be an open forum, that really becomes a slippery slope with, if we get into a situation where we want to remove a comment that somebody made.
Right.
And by the time we review it, you could have a really nasty back and forth
Correct.
going on.
Right.
I have no problem with a closed social media where we can post what information we need to get out, but we don't open this up to a public discussion where there's no one
Well, and from my perspective.
monitoring it properly.
Correct. From my perspective, this isn't about limiting communication. It's about encouraging proactive communication and along with this, and Mrs. Odell and I have had conversations about how we would operationalize this. All of our social medias would have a statement informing the public that the district's use of social media is for the purpose of communicating out information about district events, about district happenings, and so on. And if you have a question, you should call your child's school, whereas we don't want to set an expectation where if somebody puts a comment on social media to something we posted, like, could you give me an example, or if we post about an event and maybe there's something in that flyer that isn't clear, and somebody responds with a question, and then gets upset that we don't answer them through social media, whereas if they would have just emailed us or picked up the phone and called in, we could have given the answer. So that's the motivation behind that component.
Have we ever had that problem before by having a closed account where people can't just get on there and run conversations?
We've certainly had situations where we've wanted to remove comments because we felt they were derogatory or vulgar or fell under that.
If we leave it open to comments, will all comments not be automatically posted, but have to be cleared first?
No, that's not.
I think you're asking for
Yeah.
trouble.
It closes it so that there's nothing,
There's not an
yeah.
option.
We are asking to go from an open forum to a closed forum.
Okay, yeah, I'm advocating to have it closed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we're saying.
I had the feeling that you were saying that there were some where you would want to respond.
No.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Not enough hours in the day.
Excuse me?
There's not enough hours in the day.
I agree,
There's other jobs to do.
I agree,
I think Dr. Martin has a point.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
have a clarification, and maybe I missed this somewhere, but is there anything in admin regs that says what can and cannot, what content-wise, what can and cannot be posted on like building, posts?
We do not have admin regs for this policy. It's because it's a pretty thorough policy as far as detail. So there's no PSBA recommended admin regs for 816. We looked into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be, if we want to entertain that kind of language, I would want our solicitor's input on how to navigate that language.
Are you talking about the closed versus open forum, or
I'm
you're
talking about what can and
Right.
what's appropriate to be posted and what is not appropriate.
correct? And I guess from an administrative perspective, this is the board's. I guess I'm asking for direction for if this is a direction we want to go. There's conversation happening right now, but is that the entire board's appetite to go in the direction of we're not posting school events? I mean, where are we at? Are we school
looking
events
for-
only, school happenings only, no holidays,
I'm
no?
looking for input from the solicitor on that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in any of our wheelhouses to be devising language for a policy that is that specific in nature.
I don't disagree with it, yeah, sir.
Are you asking
Yes.
if you want, like, our content policies should go through a solicitor, or should we look at admin regs for content that is posted?
Where's that most appropriate? Because
Yeah.
that would be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was going to say the policy, I mean, we have the purpose of the policy, but we don't have like the purpose of social media. So, it's for announcements, it's for alerts, it's to showcase student success or district success, community engagement, things like that.
Right,
I
so
mean,
where's that land?
that's not in the policy.
Well, I guess I would just caution everybody what are the unintended consequences of this, right? Where do we want to, who's going to decide what's appropriate, what's not appropriate?
That's why I would like.
If it's in a social media policy, is it blending into other areas of school operation? Are we doing no classroom celebrations?
Right.
Where are we taking this? I guess what's the appetite of the,
That's what I want the solicitor to.
Can I suggest we turn this over to the policy committee and have them scrub through it and then give it to a solicitor?
Yep.
that's certainly an approach, yeah. Yeah, we can, we can table it till the next round of policy
Yeah.
review.
Because we had a first reading.
Yeah, but I think without some, yeah,
So you just want guidance from us on what we want you to do, right? Is that what we were asking for tonight?
Yeah, like, should we look at admin regs, or should we go through a solicitor for types of wording for content? And what can of worms that may be versus just putting like general rules of thumb is what I was thinking, general rules of thumb. Like what I said, if you can't
Right.
do everything, you do none,
That's where I'm at. I
Just
think if you
very
can't do anything, you don't do
blanket.
none.
but keep it I mean,
But I guess Diane's question is, where does it, I guess, was it more
What-
policy
yeah.
related, or is it more admin regulated?
And is that what, as a district, is that the direction we want to go, where we're so sterile of an environment that we're not posting anything?
Well, I think we have to fix the policy first, because it keeps talking about people's comments. But if we're going to have a closed forum, then there are no comments coming in.
But this is more about what we choose as a district
What
to
the
post,
district
what we
chooses to
choose to
post.
communicate out
Yep.
to the public.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting that those parts in this policy should be deleted because they don't apply to us.
Yes.
Where it talks about if people putting comments in and they're not allowed to, why
Right.
do we mention
This
it?
is just a draft.
Yeah,
and-
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That should be taken out, but I think there's from this discussion, policy committee can maybe take a first stab at this. And it seems logical that we're going to have to give our administrators some guidance to an administrative reg as to how to handle it.
Correct. And I think we're pretty, from district, like our district social media accounts, I think we're pretty limiting in what we already choose to put out as far as content. We tend to stick to district activities, district events, and so on. But however, keep in mind, like I said, there are ancillary social media accounts that fall under this policy that we don't my stance to this point is if it doesn't violate policy, we're not micromanaging those, what somebody chooses to post and not post. So if the board is concerned about things being posted, then there needs to be the conversational policy
Correct, and I
change.
think that's,
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
If I were reading this, I would assume if I saw something on social media, I could comment. But I can't.
you can't physically comment. Like, there's no option. Like, it's turned off, you can't leave a comment.
Okay.
So this is just saying, we're continuing that.
But just for clarification, that's not the current practice.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're not going to, and it will continue not to be because we're not passing this policy right now.
Correct.
So because we had a first reading of this, do we need a motion to table this till the next policy review?
We would need
I mean-
to pick a date to review. It's not currently on the agenda as discussed and approved, so I don't know if we need to take,
Could we pass this one and then as a policy committee, look at wording to add to it and then do a first and second reading? So this is,
that's an option as well, because the policy committee can determine whether they want to review a policy at any time, so. My recommendation would
suggestion
be,
is good.
because I don't think there's anything in this policy that I
agree.
yeah, I think this.
don't
is
think there's
good.
anything we want taken out of this policy.
Correct. We want to add.
I
to
think
it.
there's further discussion on whether or not
We want to
the
add
board
to
would
it.
recommend adding things to.
And that's what the policy committee is going to come up with wording and then bring us back to the board. So you want us to the gist is
Let them fight it out.
approve it, this as it is, and then have them add the wording and then bring it back to the board. And if the majority wants with their new wording, so be it.
Or we might do admin regs. We don't know what we're gonna do
Okay.
yet.
All right, do you want me to approve the second reading tonight or what?
We would have to approve, yeah, we'd have to
All
make a
right.
motion to
Was
approve.
this
'cause it was-
advertised as a
Yep.
first reading?
No, second reading.
Second.
It's approved, it's advertised as a second reading.
It was on for discussion and review, but not approval.
So we'll have to post it
So we could
for a
put-
second reading.
Well, let's just suspend the rules and get to do it.
But we didn't put it on as an agenda item for approval. So we could table it, or we don't need to table it, it's not on for approval. But we could put it on the July agenda for approval.
Yep.
Does that follow our agenda? We have a schedule. Does that fit in with that schedule?
It's already followed the entire schedule.
Okay.
It's gone through first reading, which has been approved by the board. It has gone through all that. So delaying it to a meeting doesn't
Yeah,
put you in
doesn't change
violation of
that.
anything.
Okay. I just don't want us to get off of that schedule.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Will the policy, will the policy committee meet before July, or when will that next meeting be? Or do you guys have to discuss it amongst the?
We would have to discuss it. We don't have one, but we are coming up, once we get this batch that was up for review done, that'll start our cycle over again.
I think what you're getting, you don't want to bounce it back and forth half a dozen times. If it's going to go to the policy committee, I'd rather it went there up front.
Correct.
So we'll bring it
And
back.
honestly, and I think if this is going to be a policy discussion at the committee level, the administrators who are entrenched in this policy, I think should have a voice and have a say too. So I think we need to get impact. I think I want to know from our administrators what their concerns are, what their feelings are on this, what feedback they get. They hear probably more directly than I do from
We don't have
stakeholders.
to vote on this tonight. We can just pass on it.
Correct.
Yeah, so we'll bring it back in
If it's just
July.
on for discussion and review, there's nothing, if we don't have to make a motion
Yeah,
to approve
just-
any.
I trust the policy committee will make the right decision.
So for my minutes, just to be clear,
Folks
are we
figure it
bringing
out.
this back July 20th for second reading approval?
Correct.
Yes. All right, moving on to the information agenda. We have the Finance and Operations Report. There's a Curriculum and Instruction Report. Also, some things on federal funds. Any questions or any comments on those items? On to board reports. Mrs. Groff, do you have
Yeah, I have
anything
the
from
first
IU
three.
13?
A quick one from the Lancaster County Academy is we had 16 graduates. Those from CV received CV diplomas, in case you weren't aware of that. We did some policy updates, and we've added some new courses in anatomy, psychology, career internships, physical education, literature, and world geography. It is continuing to grow and attract more students and more school districts, so that's always a plus. For the IU report, the IU no longer sends me that nice condensed information for the board, so either they're going to have to start that again, or I'm just going to have to write my own every time. Right now, as you probably know, the legislature is working with what to do with us as educators. They're still, as they say, dealing with budget cuts and income grants. One of them that is being lost is from early childhood, and we only have enough money for the program through December. One of the ways we're trying to save money is by condensing our classrooms so that we don't have to pay rent on as many in as many buildings as we had. The Early Head Start grant I referred to is a federal grant that Pennsylvania has opted out of, so I don't know where that's going to go. We did choose people for our delegate assembly. PSBA, I wanted you to know, I have a copy of this. They've come out with a guideline for student representatives on school boards. We've talked about this before, off and on. It's got to be thought out carefully. If anyone wants another copy of this, they want to bring that topic up again, they're more than welcome to. There was something else PSBA had. They've come out with a new copy, you know, that Essentials book, Essentials to Board Service that you get when you first come on the board. They've finally completely rewritten it to bring in AI and so forth. So at some point along the line, you'll probably all get a new copy of that. And I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything. We all know what's happening with budget. The deadline for the state is the 30th, which of course they they won't make again. Hopefully it won't be as long as it sometimes is. I did tell you last month that I was going to bring you another resolution. Well, I sent it off to Marilyn, and she wrote back to me, and she said, this is the exact same resolution we had before. I thought, when they sent that to me, they said, they made it sound like it was an updated version. It turns out it wasn't. I wasn't going to ask you to vote on the same resolution twice. So we'll see what they do. If you want to write to your legislature yourself, I recommend it. I don't know if they'll listen, but there it is.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
I don't have anything from the CTC tonight. There is 2 construction reports that were attached with some pictures of Fritz renovations getting started, and also information on the Leola project. Are there any other reports here tonight? This brings us to our second public comment for the evening. Is there anyone that wants to address the board? Okay. And can you state your name, please?
I'm a resident here in Leola. My name is Clifton Keenan. I observed the conversation tonight about the sterility of social media. And while I understand it's important to consult with your solicitor, I do it on an everyday basis in my job, ultimately the responsibility for what's best for the district still lies within the board. Hence, that's why we elect a board. This idea that we want to be so sterile that we only follow the letter of the law, federal holidays, what happens when your 4th grade class makes Valentines and sends them to the nursing home? Is that not worthy of being put on social media, or would that be considered celebrating Valentine's Day? In the world we live in, common sense is in limited supply. And using frameworks that hopefully protect us from any problems seems to be contrary to why and how our school governance structure is set up in Pennsylvania. And I would just let that be a note of encouragement that what's best for the students needs to be front and center. And I think that level of sterility is not in best interest of our district or the parents that want to celebrate what their school district is doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? And any other board comments or announcements? Dates for the next meeting. Mrs. Martin, do you have that?
June 22nd is the board retreat, and the July board meeting, there's only one meeting in July, and that is July 20th.
Thank you. And with that, I would take a motion to adjourn to executive session where we will review proposed updates to position descriptions and related personnel items, as well as a student discipline matter.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
I think we want to find a